I've been asked the question, why are you the voice of the Tarot Illuminati? And in thinking about this question, I think it's better to first ask, what is the voice of the Tarot Illuminati? This, for me, is a deck which speaks very clearly and in a unique and original way. When you look at the card images, they come alive and jump out at you. When you read the book, the landscapes and characters in those card images connect with your rational reading mind. But that allows them then to connect with your emotional and spiritual self. Words are important. They stand for the most important things in human experience. They stand for love, they stand for death, they stand for family, connecting, perceiving, expressing, initiating. They stand for being. And in connection with tarot, words are symbols that are standing for true meaning in the card images. So the voice of the Tarot Illuminati is very important when we start considering it as a complete deck. The voice of the Tarot Illuminati is, for me, and I believe also for Eric, one of illumination and revelation, which are two of the main purposes of engagement with tarot. As such, the deck is full of symbolism to do with light and reflection, refraction. It's seen in things such as starlight and moonlight, sunlight, firelight, and even in the lack of light, which is also very important. Unfortunately, these symbols of light and darkness are often overlooked when we read the cards. They're so obvious, they're there in plain sight. Hidden in plain sight is this meaning. So when I wrote the book for the companion deck, I was very keen to continue these themes, to make sure that we got across this idea of illumination and revelation, because this is the path that tarot readers, I hope, are treading, and that clients who come to tarot readers for readings are treading. They're seeking illumination. All across the world, across vast geographical distances, throughout the ages, people have spoken about understanding, progression, spiritual advancement in terms of light. They speak about, for instance, enlightenment, or about reflection, which is in itself a way of light reflecting on a surface. And so it doesn't seem at all strange for me to have the voice of this tarot deck being so focused on these principles of light and reflection and refraction, and all the very many sources of light. So when we think of the voice of the Tarot Illuminati, I'd rather not think of my voice coming through the cards or my voice coming through the writing in the companion book. I'd rather think of the voice of billions of people who have existed all across time, all across geographical distances, all expressing their spiritual journey, the spiritual journey that every human shares, in terms of light. And the Tarot Illuminati, its voice is just one of many, many voices that has existed over the centuries that adds to this. Of course, the question why you're the voice of the Tarot Illuminati has more practical aspects. And it's asking, how did you get involved? And this is a very good question. When the Tarot Illuminati was in its initial stages of creation, I didn't know who Eric Dunn was. I didn't even know the Tarot Illuminati existed. I didn't know the Tarot Illuminati existed until Eric posted a link to some of his cards on the Tarot Professionals Facebook group when he called out for an author to go with his artwork. He was looking then for the voice of the Tarot Illuminati. And the image that he posted was the Queen of Swords. I'm British, and any images of Queen Elizabeth always call to me, and here she was in stunning resplendent colours, beautiful costumes surrounded by the wonderful symbols of the Queen of Swords herself, the parrot, the butterfly, the birds, the sword of logic and reason. And I fell in love with the deck. And so despite the fact that I could see it was going to be a challenge, I contacted Eric, thereby disobeying my mother's advice from when I was a child, don't talk to strangers, saying I'd like to be the author for your companion book. Told him a little bit about myself and shared my ideas of tarot and how I think it's best approached. And when he messaged back, it was very clear from the first message that we were going to get along like a house on fire. We shared very similar ideas about tarot and the world. We'd shared quite similar experiences. And that very night, after we had our first conversation, I wrote down copious notes of how I would like to approach the companion book and how I'd like to express the voice of Eric's artwork. I sent him them by email and he absolutely loved them. In particular, the idea of the first-person speeches, which I think is one of the unique features of this companion book for the deck. And it's certainly a feature which helps express in a more approachable yet beautiful manner the meanings of the cards without going over the same ground. And that's really part of what I wanted my voice to put into the voice of the Tarot Illuminati, was the idea of having tradition, working from a firm basis which has been built up over 1,000 years or so, but also inputting something new, expressing it in a unique fashion, expressing it in an accessible fashion, not bogged down by tradition, but informed by it. And in a lot of the feedback we've had about the deck, this has been a running theme. The tarot not reinvented, but represented, dressed up in different clothes, offered in a different arrangement. And when you do that, new things come to people's minds. Even readers that have been working with the tarot for 30, 40 years have said that this deck speaks with a voice that allows them to reconnect with some of the things they'd forgotten about tarot, allows them to access it as if they were beginners, picking up entirely new things. And this, to me, is what the tarot voice is, and certainly what the voice of the Tarot Illuminati is. And my voice is just one very small voice in that.